Seattle Public Schools and Alliance for Education present the 2012 Middle School Science Fair. The district fair will be on Thursday, June 7th at the Museum of Flight. The first thing you need to do with this packet is get your name and heading on it. You don't want to lose this packet, especially after you've done all of the work that you'll be turning in with it. If you do happen to lose it, you can get another copy through our Fusion page. Page 2 gives you an outline of the due dates for the project. So there will be other videos on our Fusion page that are corresponding to each of the steps that you find on the left side. The task for each of those steps is listed in the middle, and then the due dates are listed on the right side. Your first due date coming up is Tuesday, March 6th, and there are 2 assignments that are due that day. Your final project is due Tuesday, May 8th, even though our science fair is not till 2 weeks later at the school, and you will be presenting your trifold in class on either May 8th, May 9th, or May 10th. The next few pages, pages 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, are the district science fair information pages. You do need to read these, but don't worry about going into them in detail at this point, because the way that the district is scoring you and the way that the school is scoring you is for competition, and it's different than what your academic grade will be based on. If you do have questions about things like rules, using human testing, things like that, page 7 is the place that you want to look. We will follow the district rules for all science fair projects. Page 8 describes how you will be scored for your science fair project. Because we use a standards-based grading system, you will get 4 summative grades for your project. And it's divided up into different parts of the scientific inquiry process. You have the plan, the data, the conclusion, and the presentation. And because obviously this is pretty vague, if you look on the next 2 pages, you have a more detailed scoring rubric. And we will use these rubrics for both your formative assignments that are due between now and May 8th, and your final project that is due on May 8th. So when in doubt about what's required for your project, be sure to look at pages 9 and 10. At this point, it's also a very good idea to fill in your heading on both of these pages, because you will be tearing them out of your packet and it's easy to forget to put your name on them. Pages 11 and 12 are the first half of your graphic organizer. So this is where you're going to take notes for your related study paper. And there's another video on our Fusion page that goes into more detail about this. But at this point, I want you to go ahead and write in that this is due Tuesday, March 6th. And again, put your name, date, period, and pod number on it, just so you don't forget when it's time to turn it in. Pages 13 and 14 go with this graphic organizer that's on 11 and 12. You'll turn all of those pages in together. It might be a good idea, again, just to write due Tuesday, March 6th. Pages 15 and 16 in your packet is where you set up your experiment. There will be another video on the Fusion page that explains this in more detail. This is due Tuesday, March 16th. Go ahead and put your heading on it as well. You'll get 2 more parts of your packet that will explain in detail how you collect your data and how you write your conclusion, and I'll give you those sometime next week. When you're choosing your project for a science fair, it's important to remember that you're not just picking a general topic and trying to figure out a question from there, but oftentimes it's easier to choose a question that you want to investigate. On page 3, there are some example questions, and it kind of gives you an idea of how to formulate your question. One thing to remember is that your investigation should compare something and measure an effect quantitatively, which means with numbers. So I just have some examples of weak questions and strong questions here. These questions that are over here, the weak questions, are easily changed into a scientific investigation, but something like how do candles burn You can just find this out by researching it and not actually doing an investigation. If you change that into which type of candle burns the longest, soy wax or paraffin wax, or you could do size of candle or color of candle, that's something where you're comparing two different conditions and you're measuring the results. I just have a few more examples here that you can go through on your own time. And again, look on page 3 in your packet for some more ideas. Feel free to also use sciencebuddies.com and any other websites that you come across on the internet.